Hello, and thank you to everyone who posted questions on my Instagram, on my stories. I really appreciate it, and I love hearing from all of you. So I've got a really good list of questions today for me to answer for you. So let's dive right in. The first one is, what do you mean by mental programs? So mental programs are basically, you could call it the inner critic. So there's lots of different names for it. The inner critic, your inner mean girl or guy, negative self-talk, or mental programs. And so when we call them mental programs, it helps you to detach from them. So the inner critic is part of you and it's running inside of you, but it's not who you are at the core. Who you are at the core is your soul, your divine being. And they're just programs that are running. So once you connect to your heart and you heal those, then those programs will no longer run and it's not actually who you are. All right, let's go on to question 2. Is your accent South African? No, no, it's not. I'm from Perth in Western Australia. So it's on the West Coast, about 3/4 of the way down. And I'm in Mundaring, so in the hills of Perth. Question 3, how exactly do I stop binge eating? Nothing that I've tried has worked. So for me, there's a few different parts to it. So for starters, it's becoming aware. Become aware of what your mind is saying, what emotions are coming up, and the behaviors that you are doing, like eating or other forms of escaping, like watching TV or scrolling on social media, even down to things like being judgmental of others. That can be a deflection of feeling what's really going on inside us. So when you get triggered into wanting to binge eat, you notice, you feel it in your body, you start to hear the words of like, you need to eat now, go and get food, hurry, you have to go now. They're the mental programs that I hear in my mind. Yours might be different. So really start to get aware of what your mind says to you, because each person is different. So becoming aware of what's happening inside, and then instead of actually doing the behavior of eating, before you get to that step, you stop. You stop, you connect with yourself, you connect to your heart, you drop in, and you really bring your love to what's going on here. Because when we feel like binge eating, it's not actually usually about the food. Most of the time when I want to binge eat, I'm not actually hungry at all. My stomach would be full, but it's more of it's my programs that are telling me I have to eat now. And I feel all this pressure from within and this urgency of like, you need to go and eat now or else. And so, yeah, when you actually connect with that part of you, you give yourself what you really need. So you don't really need the food. The food is just a way of coping of what is actually there on the inside. So when you get to the root cause of what's going on, that's when you can start to heal. So instead of going to the coping mechanism, which is your behavioral program, before you get to there, you stop, connect, and start to go through exactly what your inner child and your body, what you need from you, what your inner child needs from you. So instead of shutting it down and pushing it down and stopping what's coming up by like shoving food in and pushing everything down, you allow it to be there. You allow it to come up and you connect to your heart and feel your way through all of it. That's how that is how you can heal from binge eating. And it's not instant either. So it'll take time. It'll take dropping in over and over and over and getting used to yourself and what you need and what your body needs and what your soul needs, and really getting conscious of what you need on the inside. I hope that helped. All right, next question. You're pretty. Well, that's not really a question, but but thank you. I'll accept the compliment. Thank you very much. Next one is, how do you put yourself out there? I want people to see me, but at the same time, I don't want to be seen. Oh, I feel that all too well. I run these programs of the fear of being seen, fear of people being able to judge me, and if I say the wrong thing, what are people going to think? How's it going to come across? Am I going to be liked? Am I going to get this external validation that I so desperately need? So they're all the things that I run within me. So the first step would be to become aware of what you're saying, what your mental programs are in your mind. So when you think about sharing part of yourself, if you think about making a video or putting yourself out there on social media, what comes up for you? So the trigger is thinking about making a video. Then what are your mental programs? So my mental programs are, what are they going to think of me? I don't want to do this. Don't make me do it. I want to run away. And then, so yours might be different or they could be similar. So check in with yourself and see what's coming up for you. Then what are my emotional programs that are running? So my emotional programs are fear is like the big, huge one. And then anxiety, powerlessness, embarrassment, shame. There's a whole heap there for me. So yours might be different or they could be similar. And then the behavioral program for me is I shut down. I run away. I avoid. I just don't want to be there. I'm just like, no, I'll do anything. Just don't make me show myself. But now I feel that that's there, and I know that it's here, and I know that it's an unhealed part of myself. And I have connected back to multiple different ages within myself that have this wound. So I think this is a big, huge one for me. So it's not just an easy, like this was the one root cause. I think there's quite a few for me, a few different ones that it comes from. So one age that I connected with recently is 10 years old. So the 10-year-old inner child, little Asher. And I was at school and we had to, as a class, we had our books in front of us and then we took turns reading out loud. And I was so terrified of it coming to me, and I just didn't want to have to read out loud because I wasn't confident in my speaking skills or my reading. I felt like I might mess it up, or I'm just that I'm not going to do a good job and everyone's going to laugh at me and it's going to be horrible. And then it came around to me, and that's exactly what happened. I got so scared that I stumbled on my words and I couldn't speak, just couldn't get out a sentence properly, and I kept stopping, and I could feel my face getting redder and redder and redder, and I was so embarrassed, and I just wanted the earth to open up and just swallow me whole because it was so embarrassing. And so that's the moment that I get taken back to when I think of sharing myself. I picture everyone's going to laugh at me, everyone's going to judge me. And, that could happen. People could laugh at me, people could judge me. But what really matters is what's happening inside of me. And it's that 10-year-old part of me that is still unhealed from that event. I never connected with her and gave her the reassurance that it's okay, and taught her to connect back to her heart and to connect to her own power and to feel that it's okay for people outside of me to have their opinions and to judge, and that doesn't actually mean anything about me. All of my confidence and all of my power comes from within. It comes from me. So when I connected with her, I dropped into my heart, really connected with her on a heart level, and showed her how to connect with her power. And in that, she starts to heal. That 10-year-old, there's still more there. I still have to continue to connect and dive into it more and more. And I'm sure even if I heal this layer in the future, more layers probably come. But yeah, for me, the fear of speaking and the fear of putting myself out there, it comes back to that one. So my advice would be, if you have the fear, you've acknowledged what's actually going on inside you, and you can feel that you're still scared, even though you've connected and given that part love. Sometimes you just need to take the action. Sometimes you just need to put yourself out there, even if you're scared, and make a video, even if you don't want to. And the power that comes from that, the confidence that you feel from within, the more that you continue to do that, that's where you gain your confidence. Sometimes you just have to put yourself out there and just do it and just feel like, this is horrible, what are people going to think? Oh, and then just do it anyway. and then if people don't like it, then I know that I'm powerful enough to sit with those feelings and love myself through that, whatever comes up. So put yourself out there. That's my advice. All right, the next question is, are you saying that you never binge anymore? So no, no, not at all. I know that I run these programs of binge eating to cope with whatever's going on inside me, and I tend to avoid my emotions. That's what my programs, a lot of them, are for me to avoid, run away, just get away from whatever's going on and not acknowledge it. So I'm aware of what's going on, and in every moment when I have the opportunity to eat, so say my mental programs come up saying, eat now, you need to eat now, I hear them and I acknowledge them, and I feel the feelings coming up with that, the emotional programs coming up with that too. And I have a choice in that moment. Every single time it comes up, I have a choice. Do I want to sit with my feelings, sit with my programs, give myself the love and take care of myself? Or do I want to run away and avoid? So every single time I have this choice, and a lot of the time I make the healthy choice, but I also still have times where I don't make the healthy choice. And instead of piling on more shame and embarrassment on top of the bad feelings of binging and not giving myself what I really need in that moment, instead of adding more shame and embarrassment onto that, after the fact of eating, it's like, okay, I ate. It wasn't great, but I did it. Now let's sit down with the feelings and the programs that I was avoiding. So even if you take the behavioral program, the action of eating, you can still sit down afterwards and do the work. You don't have to just abandon it and be like, nah, that's it. I ate. It's like terrible. You can still learn from it. And there's also a lot to learn from each time that you do binge or you do avoid. Sit down and look at exactly what happened. Like, what were my emotional programs? What were my mental programs? How did I behave? And what inner child wounds were triggered? What came up? And each time that you go in and you connect and you see what's really going on inside, it helps you to connect the dots. And then you start to see the big picture of, okay, when I get triggered in this, this is what's happening inside. This is the inner child that needs my attention. These are the wounds that need my love. And once you start to connect those dots and you start to see what happened and what you need, it becomes much easier to sit with the triggers. They don't seem so scary and big. It's like, okay, this is what I need. This is okay. I can sit with this and I can heal this part. And then this part is the part that needs love, and I'm going to give it to them. So next question is, what inspired you to start your healing journey? So for me, I think it was a relationship that was quite toxic and wasn't great, is what sort of inspired me to really start on my healing journey. Before that, I'd done little bits, like ever since I was a teenager. I sort of grew up around personal development and that kind of thing. So I was open to all of that. But I think the spiritual journey, that side of it, started after this relationship ended. So for me, that was it's about 6 years ago that happened. And I tried all these different things. I tried I tried all the diets, which I've been doing my whole life, trying all the different diets. So when I started on the healing journey, I went to like Overeaters Anonymous, I did hypnosis, I did all the like breathwork and sound healing and everything, every modality that I could find, I tried it. And I was still struggling to, I was still struggling. I was still binge eating. I was still doing all these behaviors that I knew weren't healthy. And I knew that something wasn't right within me. Like, I just had this feeling like there was more, and like I needed to know more. And so I just had this need to know. this need to understand myself and to find the answers. Because I knew there were answers, I just couldn't find it anywhere. I was searching everywhere. And then I came across, I was on Instagram and I found a video by Ellie Lee, and she hosts the podcast with Danny for Masters of Self University. And I was listening to one of her, I think it was a reel on Instagram, and it was about their relationship, their conscious relationship. And I just thought, oh, that sounds so beautiful. That's like, I would like to heal so that I can be in a relationship like similar to that. And so I followed Ellie, and then I followed the podcast, and then I started listening to all the episodes, and then I ended up signing up through Masters of Self University for to become a coach. And the work that I learnt in that was just mind-blowing. It's changed my whole life, and that's what I base now all of my work around. All of this healing work, everything that worked for me, I've learned through MSU. So I had this feeling like I knew I had emotions, and I knew I had stuff going on within me and that I wasn't feeling them, but I really couldn't work out how to feel them. And I know that sounds weird. It's like, just feel your feelings, but I couldn't. Like, I knew I wanted to, and I didn't know how to. And so, yeah, as soon as I started the course with MSU, I was like, oh, okay, I get it now. This is what I've been searching for. And it's been totally life-changing. So yeah, that's what started me. What do we got next? So what led you to focus on body movement for health rather than weight loss? So yeah, my whole life I've been on diets, and I've had moments of extreme exercise. So I went through this phase where I was counting every calorie on MyFitnessPal, calories in and out. I was doing like 3 hours, like 3 gym classes in a row, and then I'd walk to work and walk home, and then I'd be doing stuff all day. So I was focusing on on calories out. That was just, my whole focus was burn more than I eat. And that worked for me for a little while, and I lost 30 kilos. So it did work. But then as soon as a relationship ended, actually, that's what happened. Something big in my life changed, and I just put all the weight back on, plus more. And so it worked temporarily because it stopped me from playing out my usual programs of avoidance and being sedentary, not moving at all, and binge eating to make myself feel better. But I shifted my coping mechanisms onto exercise. So instead of binging and instead of getting the coping like feelings that I get from binge eating, so instead of feeling the numbing out and the escape from binge eating, I used that with exercise. So I'd exercise to numb out and to escape. And so I just shifted my issues onto another coping mechanism. And so in the same way, it was still hurting my body because it was too extreme. I was getting injured, I was getting sore, and I wasn't resting, and I was just overdoing it and hurting myself. So it was the same programs playing out, just in a different way, which looks healthy, but it wasn't. It wasn't at all. And so now I'm finding that balance between both. So I don't want to be sedentary, sitting on the couch and binge eating. And I also don't want to be training for, 3 to 8 hours a day. Sometimes it was 8 hours a day. And restricting all my food and not getting enough, not getting enough nutrients or things to actually allow my body to heal. So now I'm looking for that happy medium. I'm moving my body every day, but not in extreme ways. And I am monitoring what I'm eating, but not in extreme ways. And I'm having balance, and I'm giving myself room to not be perfect. And that's also okay. Because I run these perfection programs where I just need to be perfect. I need to please everyone, and I need to get it all right. And that's not healthy either. So at the same time as working on movement, looking after my body, being healthy, I'm also healing my mental programs, emotional programs, and all of that. So it's all really, it's a holistic thing. Like, it's all happening at the same time. And it's really just about loving my body. Like, if I give myself what I really need, my body's going to heal. All right, on to the next question. You say connect to your heart and love it all a lot. What does that mean exactly? Okay. So it means, for me, what I do is I put my hand on my chest, which you don't have to, but to me it feels good because it gives me that physical point of connecting. And I close my eyes and I breathe in and out, and I just feel behind my hand is like a ball of energy. A little ball of energy right in my heart chakra. And I expand it out bigger and bigger until it fills my whole body. And it feels so good. I just want to stay there forever. Yeah, and so when I'm connected into this place, this is the connection to my soul, my heart, the true divine me. And when I connect to this place, this is what heals all of the programs that are playing out. So when programs come up of maybe feeling shame or embarrassment, mental programs of I don't want to do this, then I connect to my heart, I drop in, and while these programs are here, I love them with my open heart. I bring my open heart energy to the programs that are playing out. And that really shows them that it's okay to be here. I'm powerful enough to feel these and allow them to transmute and to alchemize them. And then once they feel seen and heard and validated by me, and they feel that connection, once I've learnt what I need to learn from this and I've healed from this, then it can just alchemize, and then it's no longer there, and that's when it's truly healed. So connecting to your heart, that's where your power is. That is where all of the healing comes from. When you're connected to your heart, that's when you alchemize all the programs. All right, next question. What has been your biggest challenge while trying to heal? So, what's a good question? I think it's avoidance. Avoidance for me is just, that's one of the major programs that runs for me. So I feel like my mind will do anything to avoid, and I've got all these little sneaky tactics. Like even if I don't eat or watch TV or scroll on social media or judge other people so that I don't have to feel what's going on inside me, or if I like criticize others or anything that I'm projecting onto other people, I do all of that. And I'll even, like, if none of that is working, if I'm onto it all and I'm not allowing that to happen, if I've got an open heart and I'm alchemizing that as it's coming up, then I'll start disassociating and just my mind will come up with ideas of, oh, don't connect to your heart, go and fold the washing, or go and eat this, or go and, it's really important to check your social media right now, like stop doing what you're doing. So when I get to the point of connection, there's these really intense avoidance programs that I run. So that has been my biggest challenge, and I'm still working through it. I'm not 100% healed in that way. So there's still a lot that I do avoid. But I'm getting more and more aware of it. And each time that I connect with it, it heals just a little bit more. How are you consistent with your self-care practices, especially on days when you don't feel motivated? Well, that's something that I'm still working on. So I'm not healed in that area just yet. So I think I still do fall into my old programs of neglecting myself and not doing the self-care that I should be, and not connecting as much as I should. And so I think what it comes down to is just being conscious of exactly what's happening. And like, I know I'm avoiding, so it's making that choice in the moment of, I'm powerful enough to deal with whatever is coming up, and I know that I have my own back. I know that I can do this. And so the choice in the moment to love myself and to give myself what I really need and treat myself with kindness, that is the moment that I am working on healing, of like actually choosing me, of loving me, of making the choice not to neglect myself, because that's a huge one that I run, of just neglect. So yeah, I'm still working on that one. I'll let you know in the future when I've healed that one, exactly what to do. What advice would you give to someone just starting out on their healing journey? I would say that self-awareness is really the first part. So noticing when you get triggered, and then when you notice the trigger down to the exact moment, like it was the brown leather jacket that I saw on this person that triggered me. Like, it can be so specific. So be really specific in what the trigger was, and then notice your mental programs. What does your mind start to say? What is the inner critic saying? And And there can be so many different things. It might not be just one. It could be like hundreds of things. My mind is just like, bup, 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 bup. I've got a lot of mental programs. So notice what the mental programs are. And then your emotional programs. So notice what feelings and emotions are coming up when you get triggered, in that moment of being triggered, what emotions are there. And then your behavioral programs. So how do you act? What actions do you take? What do you actually do in that moment? And then if any wounds have been activated. So when you're becoming aware of the trigger, the mental programs, the emotional programs, and the behavioral programs, if any memories come up, or if you have a feeling that you're a certain age, like just connect to the age that you feel you are. And in the beginning, it might seem a little bit like, what? I don't know how old I am. What is this? But the more you do it, the more you can actually feel it. And you just know what age you are. So the more you keep going into this work and the more you keep dropping in, you get to know. You'll get triggered and you'll be like, oh yeah, I'm 5. Like, you just know. So yeah, I think awareness is the main one, and just becoming aware of exactly what happens when you get triggered. That's the first starting point. And then connecting to your heart. Once you've got all the information, connect to your heart, love it, allow it to be there, and just give it your love and connection. That's a good starting point. Next question. How has your perspective on health and wellness changed over time? Well, I think I kind of covered that before. I used to just be doing all these diets and extreme exercise, or the opposite, and I'd be binge eating and sitting on the couch and watching TV, and I had these polar opposites of behavior, but they were all stemming from the same thing. So both sides of that is neglect of what I actually need, what my body needs, what my mind needs, what my emotions need. And so my views have changed on how to treat myself and how to look after myself and to not neglect myself. So being aware of what's actually going on in my inner world and connecting with it and allowing all of it to be here, and not shaming who I really am or shaming whatever's going on inside me, because a lot of shame comes up for me and I just want to avoid it and just push it away. But they're the parts that really need my attention. So when I connect to the parts that feel shame and let them know that it's okay to be here and it's okay to feel shame, and shame is fine, and I'm here to love you and support you while you're feeling shame, I think that's been the biggest game changer for me. What are some of your favorite tools and resources that have supported you on your journey? Well, Rachel Fiore and Masters of Self University and all of my colleagues there. Oh, like life-changing. That's my best suggestion is yeah, connecting with Masters of Self University. That's what really shifted the needle for me. But then when it comes down to everyday sort of tools and things, I'd say awareness and connecting to my heart. That's like, if you only had 2 things, that's what it is. Aware of what's going on, and then connect to your heart and bring your love to it. And if you just do that over and over and over and over, that's when you can heal everything. How do you set boundaries with others and protect your energy and maintain a sense of peace? This is another one that I kind of struggle with. So I've never been good at setting boundaries. Part of my wounding is that I just don't set boundaries and I people please and allow anything to happen to me, and I just sort of take it. Yeah, so this is an area that I haven't quite healed yet, but I'm working on it. So what I have learnt is that it's all about self-worth, and do I feel like I deserve to set this boundary? Am I in my power and confident enough to set the boundary and stick to it? And how do I want to be treated? How do I deserve to be treated? What do I want to let people know that these are my needs? So first step is becoming clear on what are my needs? What do I need? How do I want to be treated? Excuse me. How do I want to be treated? What do I want? How do I want people to behave with me? So what do I really need? And then once you become clear on your needs, then you can communicate them in a kind way that is also coming from standing in your power of, this is what I need. And if I, just trying to find the right words to say this, because you don't want to give people like an ultimatum or manipulate them or anything, because that's not a kind, loving, healthy boundary. You want to say it in a way that is confident in your own self of, this is what I need, and if I don't receive this, then I'll remove myself, or I will behave in a different way. It's really just protecting yourself from any energies that are coming in that aren't the way that you'd want to be treated. So yeah, as you can hear, I haven't quite healed this one yet, but I'm working on it. So again, I will make another video in the future when I've healed this one of setting boundaries. Do I use breathwork to heal? So I used to. I did a lot of it, but now I don't. And the reason why is because when you do breathwork, you move the energy and it feels really good in the moment, and you move it out and you're like, yes, I'm free. It's like, I feel excellent. And then after a little while, might be like an hour or a day or a week, the energy comes back. And so it's there again. And then you have to do more breath work to move it. And so it's a good temporary solution. And it does feel excellent at the time. But what creates permanent change and actually alchemizing those energies is connecting with your heart and being in your power and bringing that power to what's going on within you. So energy never dies. My mentor Rachel always says this. Energy never dies. So you can't just like let it go, because it's going to come back. It's got to go somewhere. And so instead of just letting it go and pushing it away, we keep it and we connect to our heart and bring our love and our energy to it, our heart energy, our soul energy, and that can actually alchemize it and transmute it. So it turns it into something different, into a loving energy. So instead of pushing it away and letting it go, you transmute it and you alchemize it with your heart. So yeah, not doing breath work anymore, but it is a beautiful tool and I will do it sometimes, just not as my main way of healing. And then the last question is, how do you integrate mindfulness and meditation into your busy lifestyle? So I don't really do mindfulness and meditation in the way that you would think. But I do have practices where I'll sit down and I'll connect with my heart, and it is a bit like meditation and mindfulness, just not, it's not in my mind. So it's in my heart. So I'll sit down, connect to my heart, like I was explaining earlier. And in that moment, I can clear my mind and connect to what's going on within me. And then I can be aware of what's been activated within me, what's mental programs, emotional programs, behavioral programs, what's in there. So that's my process, is that I'll connect with my heart and I'll feel through it rather than working through it in my mind. So that's the end of our questions. Thank you so much for listening. I really appreciate it. And if there's anything that you want to share with me, or if you want to connect, then send me a message, because I love talking to all of you. And yeah, let's chat soon. Bye.